Light for a controversial label that allows certain nuclear energy and natural gas investments to be labelled as sustainable. Critics are calling the step greenwashing and say it could threaten the bloc's bid to be climate neutral by 2015. Deutsche Welle correspondent Janelle Dumalaon joins us now from Berlin. Janelle, what exactly does this decision mean?
So this so-called taxonomy effort is part of a larger effort within the EU to harmonize its financial system with so-called ESG goals, so environmental, social and governance goals. And the idea is that if you want to encourage green investment, you have to define precisely what is green for investors, bankers and insurers. So what this tells us is that far from thinking that these sources of energy hamper climate goals, the Commission very much thinks that they should be integral to achieving climate neutrality by 2050.
How has the Commission responded to the criticism?
Well, critics have said, of course, that this is greenwashing because they see nuclear and gas as dirty sources of energy. Their point being that, say, for example, nuclear, even though it is a zero emissions technology, it comes with radioactive waste. It comes with the prospect of a nuclear accident. And nobody can argue that a nuclear accident would be good for the environment. But the Commission insists that we need these technologies as bridging technologies, meaning that we need them to get through the time before we can fully transition to 100% renewable energy transition, and that's thought not to be possible at the moment. It's also pointed to strict rules around the labeling of these technologies as sustainable. For example, a nuclear plant can only be considered sustainable if it is able to safely dispose of its radioactive waste. But this decision remains controversial and contested even among the EU member states themselves.
Yes, so Austria and Luxembourg, they want to actually challenge this label in court. Is anything expected to come out of that?
Well, this proposal has a way to go still. It still has to go through the European Parliament. Members of the European Parliament have half a year in order to find a majority to veto this proposal, if that is what they want. But it just goes to show how divided EU member states are when it comes to this particular matter. You've mentioned the opposition of Austria and Luxembourg. Germany, for example, is anti-nuclear but pro-gas. France is very much pro-nuclear, and so on. So if this doesn't, this could very well end up being a matter for the European Court of Justice if this goes on.
We're just taking you live now to Melbourne, where Cricket Australia is speaking.
We had extensive discussions about our men's coach Justin Langer's contract. We'll now enter into confidential discussions with Justin, and the outcome will be announced as soon as possible.